Well, good morning. I tell you it was a beautiful day, but I might actually be tricking you on that one. It's bloody cold and windy today. You know, I just come out here with the old Massey tractor. Pretty impressed. Flat tire again this morning. So I think I got a bead leak on that thing. I might have to take a sledgehammer and knock it off the bead and put some grease and some soap in behind there and get that thing to seal up. I got quite a bit of stuff I want to get done today. I do want to talk a little bit about regenerative agriculture and how we do pasture rotation to allow pastures to recover when they've either been overgrazed or there's damage to the soil or damage to the plant structure. So we'll get to that in a bit, but first we got to run down, check the sheep that we moved yesterday from the dugout pasture into the neighboring piece there, just because there's a ton of clover in there and I want to make sure nobody's bloating up, getting tummy aches and whatnot. I was pretty careful when I moved him yesterday. I moved him later in the evening, so in theory all their grazing's done for the day, and they should have a full stomach. Try not to move them onto fresh pasture first thing in the morning because they do a lot of grazing in the morning, and of course overnight they haven't grazed at all. They've digested a lot of their food, ruminated a lot of their food, so there's room in their stomach for gas to build up. Whereas later in the evening, because their stomachs are full and they digest over the course of the night when they're not really very active, I'm hoping that means they can get onto that richer pasture without too much for any poor side effects. This is Kylie here. Hey Kylie. Looks like everybody actually made it through the night really good. They got a bunch of this stuff trampled down. You can see they've made paths in here. They've trampled a bunch down over here. They haven't got too greedy. So what you're looking for with bloat, if you look over the back of the sheep, you can look on the left side, you'll see swelling more out on the left side than on the right. And that's just that gas buildup in their stomach. So if you look over the back, Kylie here, got a little bit more, but I think that's more attributed to a full stomach. When you see bloat, it'll be very, very pronounced. And they might be lethargic. Just imagine like you eat, you go to the Chinese buffet or something like that and you eat 3 or 4 platefuls of food, what that's going to do, right? It's just like having indigestion. It slows you right down. It's the same with sheep. So one of the things with regenerative agriculture that I find absolutely fascinating is the things you can do with soil conditioning and resurgence of different grasses and resilience of different grasses too. So as I mentioned yesterday, we had this field over here sprayed, and there's like a road. It's not really a road, but like a goat trail that runs right through here where this fence line is. And we wanted to separate this off of the fence. And the guy came and sprayed, and he sprayed this piece by accident the day before we built this fence. So I didn't realize that this was already sprayed. I built the fence, and then 2 days later, all the grass died. And I come back in here now, and the grass is, if you look at this up here, up to my chest is how tall this grass is. And the clover is well up past my knees. And there's a few spots here where you can see it's a little bit bare and nothing has really grown in. But with these sheep grazing, they're going to graze over here. They're going to manure over there. They're going to drop some seeds. Whatever doesn't recover, we can come in with a round bale, drop a round bale in here and create a grazing area, and they'll drop all those seeds, and their hooves are just going to work it into the soil. And this will recover nicely by next year. Quite a wide variety of different grasses. And then this over here, this is yarrow. I don't really have a use for it. The sheep don't like to eat it. The cows don't like to eat it. But for you holistic folks out there looking for some homemade remedies, this stuff is fantastic. It's really good for painkiller. It's really good, like if you got a toothache or a headache, something like that. It's also really good for your mental wellness. It's good, it's used to treat depression. So pretty cool stuff. And then over here we've got stinging nettle. So stinging nettle is usually considered to be a bad thing. The sheep will eat it, but only when it's kind of younger. When it gets tough and woody like this, it starts going to seed, they're not really going to like it. But you can harvest this stuff and throw it in a Dutch oven or a crock pot or something like that and stew it down. It stews down just like spinach. feed it back to your chickens. It's absolutely magical for your chickens. Great source of nutrients for them, and they love it. Like, they love it. So I'm just over here in another section of pasture. We call this the pie-shaped piece. The house is way up there. This is the neighbor's place. I mean, we call it the pie-shaped piece, but this is more like it's kind of like a scalene triangle. There's no equal sides. And if somebody actually cut you a piece of pie like this, you'd think they were an absolute monster. But again, really impressive growth on this. Like, you can see the tops of the grasses here up to my chest on my Carhartts. And this is one where, I mean, we've run the cows through here in the fall. We got rid of a bunch of clover and stuff in here because we wanted to run the horses down in here as well. I might try and fence that off, and then next year we could pasture sheep in here, because there is just grass for days, and we could probably run 50 sheep in here all summer long, and they would never run out of grass. And it's not even a big plot, but it's just so rich in nutrients. And the creek actually runs through here. Well, it's not really a creek, it's more of a, I guess they call it an ephemeral draw. It's basically just a running wet spot all year long, and then as the rain picks up, it'll rise and fall and rise and fall. More of a pain in the butt than anything, but it is a good water source for the sheep anyways if we were to run them in here. So this over here, this is really the biggest obstacle we have to running sheep in here. So you can see the creek, or the draw, comes through right here, and then we got the neighbor's fence line here. How do we stop the sheep from just going down and going underneath the fence? So even if we run netting, there's going to be a big gap there. I'm going to have to figure out some type of a way to allow water to come through, because in the spring, like, this is a full-on, like, a raging river comes through here and then out through that fence line over there. So I got to figure something out on that end too. But it, like, leaves the creek and then just flows overland and then comes back into here. So I need, like, some type of, like, really large culvert system, almost with like a flapper, like a check valve or something like that, so that, you know, water can come through but sheep can't get back the other way. I'm not really sure what that solution's going to look like yet. Some days helping Dad with chores is hard work, I guess. So I'm just out here in Rio Grande with the big John Deere tractor. I cut some hay for a couple hours here. So you want to cut hay or make hay while the sun shines? Well, I don't know, we might only be making hay for 15-20 minutes here, and it might rain. It's not always a crapshoot. Right now it's raining just to the south of us here. Out west is pretty thick clouds, but they're dispersed off enough. I don't think they're carrying any rain. Everything over here, oh, it's super bright. You see how wet it's getting over there now. We're definitely getting a bath. Well, the wind picked up, everything cooled right off. I got a half a dozen raindrops on the windshield here now. It's looking pretty gloomy out in the southwest there. We cutting hay, Charlotte? Driving? Better steer straight. Guess it's tough work cutting hay. Well, it's been a very long day for Miss Charlotte here. She's been upset, cried all the way back from Rio Grande. She's definitely ready for bed. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you go. I hope you have a fantastic evening. We'll see you tomorrow.